Guess who's on the line right now? The founder and the owner, Dr. Bill Skipper of ACCT College in Northern Virginia that creates jobs. Dr. Skipper, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you, John. It's a big week for you. I know you've been working a long time for this. Big week for D.C., big week for America. We'll see what's going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah, we're fired up, Dr. Skipper, no question. But this is like Education Day up on the Hill because Betsy DeVos, who Donald Trump nominated for Education Secretary, she's going through her initial Senate hearings today. So what do you think?
She's on your show today?
It could be interesting.
Very good.
No, we're trying to get her. We were actually trying to get her on tomorrow. She couldn't do it today, but we're hoping to get her on before the end of the week. She has the hearings today. But, you know, one thing I want to talk about.
Michigan, Grand Rapids.
I know.
A lot of Betsy, following in our family.
I think she's going to. Really? Well, I think she is going to get confirmed, but she's going to have a tough outing today, no doubt. Now, Dr. Skipper, you've been very active in developing your college in order to provide students with the opportunity to get the training and the education they need to go after the best jobs in the marketplace, right? I mean, that's right. That's what your school has been founded on, and I've seen it with my own eyes. So, tell us about what's happening.
We're trying to target young adults, working adults who probably a whole lot of them would never, ever otherwise have gone to college, not been able to go to college because of the cost of college, the structure of college. And we're very happy that a lot of people have completed degrees and gotten jobs and enhanced their lives because of the schools like ours. A lot of them are in jeopardy right now, but we're very happy about that.
And that's what I want to talk about because we really want to compel Betsy DeVos after she's confirmed as Education Secretary and the Trump administration to really reverse the decision that President Obama has made in his education department, has made in threatening colleges like yours, the American College of Commerce and Technology, by stripping the accreditation status of AICS, which is your accrediting firm. I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but what has happened here puts 1 million students in America at risk. Can you kind of expound to our audience what all this means?
What it means?
Dr. Skipper.
Well, it's chaos. Yeah. It will mean chaos for a whole lot of people. I mean, too many people, about 1 million people, as you said. There are about 700 schools that are at risk here that are certified to operate by ACICS, which will lose that certification if the administration proceeds to revoke their standing. We're talking students, 800,000 or more students, 15,000 international students who will have to relocate their colleges. And then all of those colleges will have to suddenly try to find another accrediting body to remain accredited, because accreditation is a requirement of survival in the United States. It's a requirement for Title IV funds. It's a requirement for continued state certification. It's almost a requirement for students' attention and attraction. It's all at risk, and it's a travesty, really. Everybody involved here has their fingers crossed and their prayers made that the Trump administration will do as it's been saying it will do, and straighten up the regulatory process in America and untangle the ACICS mess. I mean, that's one of the things they will do. The Obama administration, or the Trump administration, has a great opportunity to start off with a home run right off the bat. There's a big hearing, February 2, on the status of this ACICS accreditation. There's an injunction hearing that kicks off that day, And the Trump administration has an opportunity to get its administration going on a full head of steam in the right direction right off the bat.
Well, look, we've been lobbying to do that, and I'm confident after DeVos is confirmed as Education Secretary, this is going to happen. So that our listeners understand it, the accrediting body of schools like the American College of Commerce and Technology, ACICS, has been around forever. And the Obama's Education Department has attempted to strip them of their legitimate accrediting ability, which puts all these schools at risk, which are schools that are looking to educate students with a bachelor's or a master's degree in disciplines that can put them into jobs. And I tell this story all the time. I had the opportunity to be the commencement speaker at American College of Commerce and Technology in Northern Virginia in the summer of 2015. And Dr. Skipper, I don't know how many people you graduated. It was a couple of hundred students, I remember, because it went on for some time. And shook hands with them and all that, gave them their diplomas. And then after that, we had a reception. And every student that was there, every single one either had a job or was getting a job like Monday. They were starting. I mean, and I talked to probably almost 80% of them that I bumped into. Every single student had a job. Either they had already started or they were getting one within days or a week or a couple weeks. And so I saw it with my own eyes. So what was the motivation of the Obama administration in stripping the ACICS of their credentialing authority for all these schools, putting all these students out of their classes, out of schools? What was their objective here?
Well, that's open for conjecture and sideline guessing. But most of us who have been watching this have concluded that it's political. The core problem is the huge amount of student debt derived from Title IV funding and student debt that has gone unrepaid. The amount of debt that is defaulted is enormous. It's so big, it's a serious threat, really, to the status of American economics. So it seems to me, or it seems to a lot of us, that one of the solutions is, hey, get rid of the schools that have Title IV money, and redirect that money to the public sector, I suppose. But that's one of our conclusions, that the politicians have a simple solution to just throw the baby and the bathwater all out at the same time, redirect the use of Title IV funds, and reduce the amount of debt that is owed to the government, which is a really wacko way to look at solving this problem. The solution to the problem is worse than the problem. So I don't know. I'm hoping that the Trump administration and Ms. DeVos get a clear picture on this and take proper action real soon.
So, Dr. Skipper, the Obama administration, you got 700 schools that are accredited by ACICS, all right? And
right.
So there's a couple of them that are just bad actors, right? They're just bad actors. They're not doing the right thing. They're not properly educating their students. They're getting the student loans in. They're taking their money. They're not doing right by them, so the students then can't pay it back. So they default. The default rate goes way up. But this doesn't include 700 schools within your accrediting body. This is a handful of bad actors. So this would be like shutting all checking accounts down in America because 1% of people pass bad checks, right? Just go after the people that pass the bad checks. Go after the schools that are bad actors, that are not behaving in a credible fashion, that are wasting taxpayer dollars. They're doing it the wrong way, or they're stealing the money, whatever they're doing. Go after them. Why go after everybody? How does that make sense?
Yeah, those schools that are the culprits here have already been disciplined. Many of them are out of business because they were living primarily on student loan funds, which have been withheld now, and so they're shut down. The culprits, the bad guys, to date have been shut down. They've been found. They've been penalized. Now they want to penalize the accrediting body that supposedly oversees all these schools. But one of the philosophical and political questions is, if you're going to shut down this accrediting body and you're going to assume that they're solely responsible for the behavior of these schools, what does that have to say about the state education agencies from which each one of these schools has received certification and authority to operate within their state? Each one of those states is supposed to oversee the administration and the practices of these schools, and the bad practices happen right under their noses. And so the Congress is taking action against probably the only one they can take action against, which is a body that's authorized by the U.S. Department of Education, these accrediting bodies. But somehow all the state agencies are left off the hook. There's no accountability, responsibility by the people in each of the states that are supposedly assigned the task of licensing and monitoring all of these schools that operate within their jurisdiction. It's just a question that has not been addressed, at least I haven't seen it addressed, in the case of ACICS.
Well, look, they haven't addressed it because the Obama administration, look, I'm not making a political statement. He's out of office in 3.5 days. But this is just reality. They made a political decision to basically find a bad guy, and they said, okay, the bad guy is ACICS. We're going to strip them of their accrediting power. We're going to shut all these schools down. And look at us, we actually did something. But what they didn't do is the right thing. And so they're throwing everything out at once to make a political statement and not understanding that they're affecting almost 1 million students across America that are in colleges like American College for Commerce and Technology, that are in the middle of semesters, that are graduating, they're incoming seniors. Now if this goes down, they'll all be displaced. They have to go somewhere else. And like the mission of American College for Commerce and Technology has always been to offer affordable academic undergrad and master's programs and non-degree programs designed to do one thing: to help students get jobs, to develop skills and competencies, to enhance their ability to get a growth job in the workplace, right? So we're going to throw all these students out of schools for no reason, to make a political statement, so they're caught in the middle. And look, Trump is all about jobs, so we have a high confidence that he's going to come in and say, look, this is just a bad idea. Let's go after the so-called colleges that have been abusing the system and keep everybody else there. We're talking to Dr. William Skipper, and he is the founder of American College for Commerce and Technology. This is a text from Corey in Danville, who says, John, we're talking about the federal government. When do they do anything that makes any sense at all? He may have summed it up, Dr. Skipper. What's the timeline that we have? I know you guys filed a suit basically to have this reviewed. What's the timeline?
Well, ACICS is on a timeline. They've had their certification, their authority as a licensing body or accrediting body revoked. They've appealed for an injunction, which is scheduled for, if I understand it right, either February 1st or February 2nd, which is within 2 weeks of the startup of the the Trump administration.
Right.
So they're on a very short leash, a very short timeline, and all of these schools are hanging by a thread, waiting for the outcome of that February 1st, 2nd injunction hearing, and hoping for goodness that the right course is taken and things are extended. The life is extended for ACICS. There's a lot more at stake than the notion of college education programs like mine. And by the way, mine we're a little bit different than everybody else. We do not have Title IV money. We do not have federal money. And we have a very low tuition, which is the main attraction for most of our students. So we are able to survive, or have been able to survive, without federal money and on a low tuition, which I think should be a signal to just about everybody else to find ways to cut your reliance upon the federal dollar and and focus on quality education and develop your survival tactics that way. But that timeline is very short. Now, what's also at stake here, there's a whole lot, probably the majority of students in the for-profit sector are students who are welders, cosmetologists, HVAC specialists, barbers, computer specialists, construction specialists. The working folks of America are involved in these non-traditional schools, and which are soon to be thrown into havoc, or potentially could be thrown into havoc with the fate of ACICS.
Well, look,
hey, one other
Dr.
thought
Skip.
I had. I was thinking about this driving in today. One of the big differences in the for-profit sector, there's two sectors: the for-profit and the state-run sector, state colleges, state community colleges, and all that. All of the state schools are state and funded and tax funded and federally funded and locally funded and so forth, and students still borrow money to go to those schools. All of the for-profit schools have no tax money supporting those schools except for student loan money that they achieve through Title IV and Pell Grants and so forth. But the basis of the school is survival without any tax relief from local or state or federal funds. Conversely, they pay a fair share, a good fair share, of local, state, and federal taxes. So if you look at it just empirically, it's a no-brainer. Why would you want to shut down for-profit schools who offer good education, train people for jobs, keep the economy rolling, that cost the sector nothing, and pay back large amounts of money to the system? I mean, I have a hard time trying to unravel behaviors contrary to continuations of that reality.
Well, you're like one of our listeners texted in, you're dealing with the federal government, so it makes no sense. They want control. And this whole thing is such a disaster because a school like the American College for Commerce and Technology, tuitions are low. You're not dependent on the federal government for money. You're not feeding at the trough of the federal tax dollar. You don't need Title IV. Most of your students, are paying for it threats. They come out with very little debt. They get good jobs. They get a great education. So actually your model, Dr. Skipper, is a threat. Just like you said, driving in. I mean, you represent a new model, which is a threat to the big, bloated status quo that has all these expenses, spends all this money, gets all these tax dollars. And so if a college like American College for Commerce and Technology continues to survive, then you are a threat to the status quo. Am I right?
Well, I don't know if we're a threat, but we are an option for a lot of students, young adults, older adults, who would prefer our option to traditional structures. Right. Our programs are designed for working adults. We have classes on Saturday, Sunday. We have night classes. We have early morning classes. We have online classes. They're all designed to fit the lifestyle of these folks, along with a very low tuition and student payment plans that encourage them and allow them to go to school and finally to continue to complete their education with what we hope to be very low student debt or no student debt. That's our real goal. And society is better off. The kids are better off. Their families are better off. The school is will continue to be profitable, to make it so that we can continue. To me it's a very simple formula, and a very needed partner in the educational spectrum.
All right, Dr. William Skipper, founder of the American College of Commerce and Technology in Northern Virginia. Check him out, acct.edu, acct.edu, fighting the good fight, and let's hope that your injunction holds. And let's also hope
a good fight, and we appreciate all you're doing and trying to educate people on these issues. Hey, I have a question for you. These Don Beyer tickets, how does one get in line to sign up for a ticket for this inauguration?
Well, if you want to go, just email me, and I'll take care of it. And I'll call Don Beyer's office right now, and I'll get you the best seat that he's got, being that you're in his district.
My shop is 4 blocks away from Don Beyer's shop, and I just bought a car through his network, and he was also a commencement speaker for us.
I know he was. I said that in the opening.
Man, he's a very good man, and I appreciate the opportunity
I said
to maybe get one of his tickets.
The best thing Don Beyer ever did was be the commencement speaker at the American College of Commerce and Technology. I'm going to call his office when I get off the air, and I'm going to be sure, Dr. Bill, you and your wife get tickets courtesy Don Beyer.